Hi, I'm Elaine Harding. Welcome to my blog at stampwithelaine.com. When I was looking through my stamp collection, I noticed this Lighting the Way stamp set, and it sparked an idea in me for a Mother's Day card. Now, our mothers nurture and mould us right from the very beginning of our lives, and they set an example and literally light the way. So it's this sentiment here that I love. Thanks for lighting the way. And I've incorporated it into a Mother's Day card. This is a clean and simple card using Lighting the Way for the sentiments, and I think you'll find that on page 18 of the January to April 2023 catalogue. I'm also going to be using the Petal Park stamp set. I actually fussy cut those, but it does come bundled with a punch. So this is the stamp set, and that's the punch. The inks I used are Balmy Blue, Night of Navy, Shaded Spruce and Mango Melody. I also used the Regency Park collection papers, which is on page 30 to 33. And these are called the Regency Park Designer Series paper, and they are 6 by 6 inch sheets. There are 48 sheets in the pack, 4 each of 12 double-sided designs. We're using this pattern. I cut them into 2-inch strips so I could get 3 cards out of the one 6 by 6 inch sheet. I also use this lovely textured shimmer paper. It's corrugated, so it's double-sided. It's the same on the front as well as the back, and they come in Balmy Blue, Basic White and Shaded Spruce. To make a 12 by 12 inch sheet go further, I've just cut it into 3-inch strips and then cut them into 4-inch lengths. So you'll get 3 out of one 3-inch by 12-inch strip. Then for the inside of the card, you need a basic white piece, and that's 3 3/4 by 5 1/2. So that's 9.5 by 14 centimeters. And for the card base, it's just half an A4 sheet, and in Europe this measures 5 7/8 by 8 1/4 inches. So that's 13.5 by 21 centimeters. In addition, you have this lovely ribbon, the Night of Navy 3/8 inch bordered ribbon. There's these iridescent pastel gems which I put in the centre of the flowers. I also used the Something Fancy dies, and it was these two that I used, those two. Now the Petal Park stamp is actually a 2-step stamping method, so you have your linear image here and then your solid image there. Makes your life easier really, because then you don't have to colour it in with colour pencils or blending pens. So it's ideal if you're not a person who likes colouring, but if you do, then you could do it either way. So I'm going to stamp that in Night of Navy. I need a cushion because that it's a photopolymer stamp. It doesn't have a cushion like the red rubber stamp does. So if you want the ink to reach all the areas, it's best to have a foam mat underneath. Now a tip, when you're removing the stamp, photopolymer stamps, especially when they're new and straight out of the box, can stick to the plastic sheet quite viciously, and you don't want to take it off quickly. You have to gently peel it off bit by bit, otherwise you could tear the stamp. And there are areas of the stamp where it's fairly thin, rather than snip the stamp up as some people do, because that helps you to orient the stamp in the exact same position as the linear one in order to fill in the blanks. Now I'm going to take my ink pad to the block because the block is rather big and difficult to handle, and I'm going to stamp off first. Let's get a scrap of paper and then stamp on. So line it up, press down on it, make sure it's stamped. Do the linear image first. You see the dip in here where there isn't a line. You need to fit this petal in that groove there, and the 4 petal flower in between these 2 leaves here, like so. That petal in between these 2, and that one is free. So then you just pick it up with your block so that it's north and south, and I want the balmy blue. Ink it up, and I know that that's going to go in here, so I want this petal in between these 2 petals here, and that petal right in the dip there. Okay, then to do the outline, you simply place this stamp on top of that one, pick it up, ink it up with the Night of Navy, and this is the same orientation. Then I want to stamp a trio with this stamp so that it will go in the punch. Ink it up with the balmy blue, and then stamp on this as well. I'm going to die cut this label with the largest of the Something Fancy label, and I'm going to stamp this twice because I'm going to make up some letters to spell mum, and I don't have the correct font for it, so I'm just going to snip this off. Then I need the U. Stack them together to make sure that they're both the same height. So I've snipped off a narrow bit of dimensionals from the mini dimensional sides, then put them on the back of the letters. Fussy cut these out, and you angle your scissors at a 45-degree angle and leave just a slight white margin all round. And the reason why I stamped it whole was because I really wanted these little leaves here, so I will go and cut that off camera to save time. You move the paper and not the scissors. So obviously I will leave out the dots. So out of that large flower, I have cut this one as a whole, and then all the little fronds and an extra leaf, so I can build up this scene here. Remember that trio of flowers I stamped? Well, I've fit that into the punch and punch it out. It's better to put a piece of cardstock larger than I need inside. Stamp that and go and die cut it. Here's my fussy cut piece. I'm going to curl that and then just use this tip of the Tombow pen glue tip and much too much glue. Pop that there. Make sure that the birds are still visible. I'll use the lid to make an indentation there. Put some glue on here. Pop this underneath. And curl that leaf. And I think I'll stick that one up on dimensionals. And curl that as well. Remove the backing tape from the letter, and I'm going to start with the middle letter first. Remove the tape and put that next to it. Just checking to see if I'd pressed the record button and I hadn't. Put a bit of glue on this bit here and stick it underneath. And then this one, the extra one, I'm going to lay on top of that one to give it a bit more depth. And I'm going to pop dimensional on this one. Marry it up with the one underneath. And then put my iridescent pastel gems on. So that's the embellishment for the front of the card. I'm going to set that aside and we'll do the inside. So I've already set up my stamp apparatus to stamp the sentiment, lighting the way. Then I want to stamp the inside. So starting from here, underneath, lighting the way. And then up here. Then I can glue this to the inside of the card. Leaving an even border all round. Glue this piece on. Oh, I want to trim that first. And that has been trimmed to 4 3/4 inches. So bring in my little mini cutting machine, and I want 4 3/4, which is here. So let's glue that down first on the front of the card, leaving an even border on the 3 sides. Then I can glue this piece down. Then I'm going to run some Stamp and Seal on here so I can secure the ribbon. Oh bother, I forgot to press record. Put dimensionals on the back. And stick that over the middle. And there you have it. Something for Mother's Day with the Petal Part bundle and Lighting the Way bundle and the Something Fancy dies. So I hope you've enjoyed today's tutorial. All the supplies to the card is below the video in the show more section. If you'd like to read more, I've also put a link below to my blog post. All the measurements for the card will be in my blog post. Thanks for watching, and I'll pop back with more inspiration next time. Don't forget to like or subscribe if you haven't already, and share if you can. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Bye.